Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Renovation Nation. Hey, before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like, the notification bell when new episodes come out, then you'll get notified, and also share this video. Also, if there's any comments that you might have about this video or any other ones, feel free to post them below. So, if you remember the last episode on the Left 4 Dead, Rise of the Phoenix, whatever you want to call it, this turn of the century home was going through a major renovation. Demolition had already started. There's still a lot to be done. The general contractor wasn't there, but I was able to see some of the workers that were on site and some of the things that they were up against, like we were dealing with weather, orchestrating the time when the asbestos guys can come out there and finish the job. Well, in this episode, a lot of that's been done. You're going to see that a lot of progress on the demolition had been done, and everything was being held up for what? What are the things that always get held up, seeming in construction? Permits. Yes, indeed. So I talked to the general contractor in this episode about the work that's going to be done, what is being done pending the permits and everything else. I think you'll enjoy it. Here it is. Hey, we're on the scene at our project here, the major renovation project in Northern California. And I happen to have one of the general contractors here involved in this project, John Chmielewski with Problem Solved Construction. And boy, we're doing a lot of solving here.
Definitely. A few problems in this house.
Now, the last time I was here, there was some demo that was done. I came back and definitely more, like a lot of the lath boards, all of the lath boards are gone. You know, they're on the floor and all over. It's going to be fun just shoveling all this stuff out, and you'll see the extent of that. But one of the cool things about this is once we do that and we're down to the studs, there's a number of stories that this could tell. Like, what was the original build? What was it like? I think this home was built around the turn of the century.
Right around 1890. Yeah.
About 1890. Yeah. And, you know, we can see the type of materials that were used, but also we can kind of get an idea, what did this place originally look like as far as the floor plan goes? What are some of the things that you've noticed in here that just...
So to me, some of the bigger things I noticed is that we have a room right over here that is now the laundry room and a bathroom. This originally was just an exterior porch, as we could see when we look at the walls that they actually had the original siding on the walls here. The kitchen where we stand used to actually have a vaulted ceiling in here, and at some period of time, for whatever reason, they tried to drop this down to make it probably a little more cozy in here. But I think as a design feature, we're going to bring that back and have that more open feeling. Mm-hmm. And this probably had a one bath originally that was probably located over in this corner off the kitchen area, which, you know, is now going to be a closet for the main downstairs bedroom.
So we can kind of get an idea as to, you know, this was a wall that was added because you could see the telltale original header. Yep. That's right up there, a pretty wide door. And it might have been a bathroom, might have been a dining area if this was a kitchen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different possibilities. This might have opened up into dining. Maybe they converted it to a bathroom at some point in time. But it's been through a lot of changes. And you can see all the old wiring in here. We'll pass by and around some of the areas and see some of the exposed knob and tube. Let's make our way. You can see. Yeah, just make sure you don't step on any nails or anything like that. That would be no bueno. All right. So in this area, this is kind of a decommissioned fireplace. Here's, you can see up there some of the old original knob and tube.
Which at some point there was already a rewire done of this house, because as you could see, the original knob and tube, and then just to the right of that a little bit, you could see the update at some period of time that, probably in the 60s or 70s, they came in and did a rewire, bringing in, a little bit newer wire. But we're going to take all that out and bring it to new technology, new main panel, and all new wiring through the whole house.
Now, one of the interesting things is, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video, is the homeowners, when they were looking to get a contractor on this, a lot of them just kind of said, well, we're just going to level it.
Yep.
It should really start over. Thus, our Rise from the Phoenix or House Led for Dead or whatever. And of course, like me, you have a passion of taking some of the old stuff and making it new.
Agreed.
But what about the practical reasons behind not leveling it?
I mean, first off, to me, the materials that this house was built with do not exist anymore. I mean, this, actual true dimensional 2-inch by 4-inch lumber. I mean, these are, already been here for what now, 130 years almost.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, this was old growth hardwood they used back then, and it's very rot resistant. This house has seen a tremendous amount of, I'll say, water damage over the years, but when you actually look at the wood structure, none of that has dry rot, none of that has any integrity issues, where in a lot of the newer construction and the newer wood products, like that would have just destroyed this house. And knowing that, being able to open up, investigate a little bit, we can see the bones are solid on this house.
Right.
There's no major settling, there's no major issues. It was in really good condition. So we felt that it just needed a big refresh.
Right.
And honestly, the cost of this project versus that mindset of demoing and starting new, it'd be at least twice as much
right.
to do that. And you're going to lose all the historical charm. This was their family home. The current owners now grew up in this home. So it's been in the family 60, 70 years. To me, that's something to preserve and to keep going there. So that's one of the second reason for us that this seemed like a project that we wanted to take on and give that new life for this family for the next generations to come.
Right, right. Some of the cool things you can see on elements of, old, things like the chandeliers and the doorknobs, the hardware in here. A lot of people pay good money for that kind of stuff when they're restored.
Oh, yes.
So it's kind of nice to see some of that. I don't know, maybe it'll be repurposed or used. I'm not sure, but I've seen a lot of homes, especially in historical areas where they keep that, or they find stuff to replace, that are replacements that are period.
There's period antique stores or just period shops where they try to gather and repurpose this stuff, but all that has a cost because there's a lot of labor and love that goes into refurbishing or restoring a lot of this stuff. And
right.
that, again, outside the house, all the corbels, all the decorative pieces on there are in solid condition still.
Right.
They just need a little sanding, a little love, fresh paint, and they're going to look amazing. So that's something to me that is so much more cost effective than us demoing, and being that this is an historical neighborhood, that the city would probably want us to bring back that kind of charm, and that comes at a pretty high cost as well.
Right. So. Now, one of the things, kind of the fun things about this is when you go through the house to kind of determine, what it looked like originally. And we have like the guessing game. What was it? When I walked in, the impression I got, now this is after we walked into the front door, I see this, and this reminds me of a initial foyer of a 2-unit. Now, it may not necessarily be, but it could be, only because of that door. Now, that door may have been repurposed, so who knows? But it's a fairly tall jamb. But with that being said, you would have this. You'd have a stairway up to some sort of a doorway entry up at the top. But I don't know. Yeah. This is hard to tell, especially when work has been done and then converted into a single family, or maybe it was single family converted to a duplex and then back to a single family.
It's hard to say.
Who knows? But what's cool is the high ceilings in here.
These are 11-foot or 10-foot ceilings down here and 9-foot upstairs.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And are they going to do anything with the fireplace at all?
Being that it's already bricked off, we're talking with the client if they want to demo the whole thing. Either way, I think we're going to bring back the mantle and just the look of it, so it has a nice, traditional feel when we're done with construction.
Right.
But as far as it being a functional fireplace, probably not anymore.
Right. Okay, well, let's take a look outside.
Sure.
And we can kind of talk about some of the issues and stuff that we're dealing with in this home. Let me step out here. Okay, so here we are out in the front. Some of the cool stuff is original scroll work and, some of those posts, although I'm not sure if those can be saved or not.
They're actually not too bad. I think sanding and a little bit of love, and we might be able to keep those rolling.
Okay.
So not as bad as they look.
Okay. I'm impressed the fact that there's, at least initially what I see, not a huge amount of dry rot.
Agreed.
Just peeling paint.
Yep. And that's really what it is. It looks much worse than, it looks much worse than it is, for sure. It's a lot of just peeling paint, little cracks in here that can all be fixed and definitely rehabbed or refurbished.
Yeah. And since when I was here the last time, they hadn't started on the exterior as far as the siding. And up here on the front, I think that's aluminum siding right there.
Yeah.
Vinyl. But if we go over to the side, I talked about this as being asbestos siding, which is something they used in the day, not knowing that it was a health hazard. And of course, now we've got some demolition of it right now. And so tell me, why would they use asbestos siding versus wood shingles? Or
I mean, back in the day, that asbestos tile, that was your first rot-resistant tile. You know? So now we found, better products, like your party boards that are cement-based product that are a lot more environmentally friendly and also health conscious, that give that same rot resistance, but are a lot better for us.
And did they also consider that as to help for fire safety or anything like that?
Agreed. Well, it did have some fire, I'll say retardant type properties, but I think mostly it was more for that rot resistance on the tile.
Right. And
so you can see, the original here has that, larger but tongue and groove, kind of a beadboard sort of look.
Right.
That's the original there, and then at some point they decided to do the shingles over it to give it a different feel, new life.
And you can see a lot of those are the same jams.
Yep, those are all original.
All original stuff. So we'll see how much of that could be saved, salvaged, or whatever. Yep. You can see we have asbestos tape, and I guess they take everything and they put it in bags.
Yep. And
they seal it off, and there's a thing, I think, where they dump it in there and they seal it in this container here.
You're probably correct.
So there's obviously some issues. Tell me about we know there isn't necessarily any structural issues per se.
Yeah.
But it might be some issues a little bit with the foundation.
In here at the foundation, there's been some settling. Pretty sure this little second story here was an addition at some period of time.
You want to show me over?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Over here. With all the bags here, it's kind of hard to see right now.
Right.
But in this corner here, just however the footing was done, definitely could have been done a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do, as well as the second story framing up here, when you see the interior style, wasn't, to me, the best, for structural purposes. So we're probably going to remove the second story piece, and then we're going to go ahead and lift, support the house on jacks, re-pour this footing, set it back down to make sure it's just got a good new life, and then rebuild the second story bathroom area so that it is good to go.
Nice. And the roof to be redone? Or?
Yeah, brand new roof. It's definitely not the original roof. At some point, it had a roof done because we could see it's got newer plywood underneath it, but definitely there's some water issues. It's seen some better life, so we'll do a whole new re-roof on this.
And for the most part, the floor plan going to be the same?
Yeah, no plan changes there. The client, this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1 downstairs, 3 upstairs bedrooms, and it's a functional, good floor plan, very traditional. The family likes to keep it that way, so we're just gonna keep that and update it and make it new again.
Nice. Yeah. And then, of course, here you have a door with a very large, watch out for your first step. Yeah. Might be your last.
Yeah. That will be a deck that we'll be building out. So
oh,
it'll be a
okay.
small little deck with some staircase that'll come out.
Nice.
For a landing, and that'll make that a lot safer and a lot more functional.
Okay. Well, cool. Is there anything else we could point out maybe in this? Maybe in the back. We've got probably another couple of days worth of asbestos remediation.
Yeah, they're supposed to be here like another day and a half, and then from there we'll come in, get some fresh sheeting on here, and get it watertight as quick as we can. But our plans are too with the electrical, bringing in a brand new panel. That's a little nicer panel. We'll be redoing the gas lines and all the drainage and sewer lines and stuff like that, and just making everything fresh and more efficient for this house.
Now that chimney right there up top, I mean, was that an exhaust for the stove or something?
Originally, yes, that was the original probably stove area. Since then, they moved it to the other side of the kitchen, and that has primarily been demoed and capped off, and we'll probably continue to demo that as we get a little bit further.
Nice. Okay. Well, this looks good. I mean, any drainage problems at all?
So far, none. That's one thing that this house doesn't seem to have any major issues with, and being with the rains we just had here in California, being that we're not seeing anything major, it's probably good to go. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll be excited to see how this progresses.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have the asbestos.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's going to be all the stuff needs to be cleared out on the floor.
Correct.
Once all that's done, what's the next step?
So to me, after we get through all the demo, house is just stripped and clean. First is making it, waterproof and safe again, so no one can come in. So as soon as we're done, we want to get the new roof on, get the siding on, get the windows done, get the front door in. Now the house is secured; it can be locked up tight and keep any critters and animals out, any weather out, and stuff like that. Then we can get in there, get our rough and plumbing, rough and electrical done, and just continue on from there. Drywall, and now it's just finish work.
Right. And one thing to just kind of keep in mind that whenever you do a project like this, there's not only the challenges that you have with building the home itself,
yes,
but there's also challenges interfacing with the county or city or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yes. That sometimes could be beyond your control.
Yes.
And this particular town is not the biggest town around. So whenever you're dealing with, I don't know if it's code enforcement or what they, who you report to as far as the permitting process. In order for you to put a dumpster out on the street, you got to get a permit. And of course, we're having a little bit of delays.
Yes, we are.
Because
we have one person in this city that I'm going to call as the gatekeeper. All permits go to her to start with, and she unfortunately got pneumonia and has been out sick for the last 3 weeks. Finally, today was the first day I got to talk with her. She's trying to get this going for us, but again, with delays, we just need another dumpster put out there to finish the rest of the clean out, and we can't.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. And then with that too, the city doesn't have its own inspectors, so they use third-party inspectors. So that'll be an interesting potential challenge because you're not having someone that knows how this city works. They're just looking at how all cities work potentially, which could make it a little more challenging. But
right.
We'll make it through.
So just basically for anybody out there that's watching this and doing a renovation project, it might be a little bit different process wherever you're at. I mean, I know there's some places in the country where, hey, you don't need a permit. You can just build it any way that you want. I mean, I know that's in some places up in Alaska because you won't find a county official for anywhere within the nearest 1,000 miles.
I just had a contractor, a friend of mine, he just moved to Tennessee, and that was that way. He was going to do an addition to his house and do all this work, and he called the planning department. I was like, hey, so what kind of plans do I need to give you? What do I got to do? And he's like, plans, permit? just go and pull the permit. Let us know when you're done. We'll come look at it.
Exactly.
And that was it. And he was just like, what? You know, we're here in California. It would probably be a multi-month process before he got to even start breaking ground.
Right.
So, yeah.
So at this point in time, our holdup was because the permit office was out with the flu.
Yeah.
So,
Seriously.
anyway, so with that and that wishing well right there,
Yes.
we're wishing this project would keep moving on, which it will, because I got to tell you, when I first came out there, I could not believe the demo that was done already. So
The team works quick. So.
It is quick.
Yeah.
And then this on the exterior will be done within the next couple of days, and by that time, you might have a dumpster out there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, cool.
It's gonna be full speed ahead. So
right.
Thank you, Howard.
Well, John, it was great talking with you, and we're gonna visit out here as the process continues. Whether you're here, we can kind of talk through it, or maybe the site manager.
Either one, yeah. We'll probably do some more videos together, and once we get, I said, past demo, I think you'll finally get this house wrapped back up and looking good. We'll get you back out and talk through the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, John.
Thank you.
Back to the studio. Thanks for coming back. Before I forget, or you forget, make sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, share this video, and any comments you might have. So, what do you think? Some progress has been made, but we're waiting upon permit. Seems like an issue that is always hampering the timeline of construction, but it's one of those things you can't help, especially when you're dealing with when there's very few staffing in that department. And that was endemic after COVID and everything else. The permit process really slowed down. Anyway, thank you for joining me in this episode of the Renovation Nation. Until next time, there's some good stuff happening.